Hello and welcome back to Leeds Lately. Like I said last week, this is going to be now a weekly transfer roundup of everything that's happened in the week. Of course, you've got your videos that are coming out on the channel as well, but this is going to be a bit more of like a weekly roundup of everything that's going on, kind of an overview of everything. So we'll wait until a few more people come and join us in the chat down below. But those of you who are here already, welcome to the stream. Philip Anderson, hi mate, all right Max, and everyone just joined, smash the like. Thank you very, very much for that. And Philip saying as well, just seen something on Leeds, like that we've got another player in for 20 million. Not sure if that's true. The only thing I've seen is that apparently we've prepared a bid for a number 8/10 in from France, so we will get to chatting about that as well, but for now we'll just wait till a few more people join. Welcome to those of you who are joining me. I hope you're all well. Thanks, Ryan, for the kind words, and Ryan has now been a member for 2 months. Thanks very much, Ryan, for your continued support. As you can see down at the bottom, we've kind of got the little rolling news ticker going on, and that is our agenda for today, really, the things that we're going to talk about. So we'll give it just a couple of minutes, say until 5 past, and we'll start talking about that. But for now, hi Stripper, hi Ryan Tune, hi Philip Anderson, hi whoever else is in the chat down below. Thank you all for joining me. Like I said, this is just going to be a weekly thing where we just have a little bit of a chat about what's been going on in the world of Leeds United, what's been going on in terms of transfers, and hopefully we can have a good chat and a good discussion about it all as well. There's been a few more players linked. Excuse me. There's been a few more players linked this week as well, along with some rumoured departures as well. So we will get into that. And we've had one very, very recently come through, which we'll talk about whenever really. Abdeli, Himad Abdeli, the captain of Angers in France. We'll have a little bit of a chat about that. But yeah, we'll just wait and leave it till about 5 past to get everyone in. Julie Knight, evening Max and everyone else, hope all are well. I'm good, thank you. Thanks for joining us, Julie. Appreciate you coming and joining the stream. Give it till 5 past and then we'll get going on all the news from this week. Supposedly, we might not see much business now until the 1st of July, but that isn't very long. It's only really till the end of this week, isn't it? And then Tuesday next week, 1st of July, that's when we might see some more players come through the door, and that's when we might see a lot of the transfer news and everything start to ramp up. So hopefully we get a few more players through the door. Obviously, the kind of like PSR window, profit and sustainability, is like to the end of the footballing year is the 30th of June, which is of course Monday. So that's going to dictate when we bring new players in, just so that we can balance the books and keep everything kind of going in the right direction in terms of staying within the lines, unlike some teams like Leicester and Manchester City and other teams like that who have cheated over the years. So yeah, hopefully we stay within the lines, we buy enough players to survive, and it all goes well whilst obeying the rules as well. That is ideal. That is ideal for us. So yeah, we'll give it just one more minute. In fact, it's probably only about 30 seconds, and then we'll get into all the news from this week. There's a little bit more movement on the goalkeeper front in terms of outbound, but yeah, apparently we have lost another youngster as well to Spurs. Similar situation to Finlay Gorman, and I don't think there's anything that we can do about it because they weren't on a professional contract. So I think there's really nothing we can do about it until we're in a position where we are such an established club that players don't want to leave us and they can see a path through to the first team. Then we are just going to lose players of around that age. Not heard much. Obviously, Finlay Gorman's still not very old, but not really heard much in the way of Finlay Gorman since he's gone to Manchester City. So we'll have to wait and see on that front. But we'll get into the news then. Let's have a talk about Rodrigo Muniz first. Now, Rodrigo Muniz is, of course, very much an ongoing transfer saga where Fulham have now kind of said we're not in the market to sell him, but they had been linked with Ricardo Pepi, the PSV striker, and I think they've been linked today or yesterday with another striker as well. So they are trying to actively bring in another striker, Fulham. So therefore, you've got to think, well, where does that leave Rodrigo Muniz in the pecking order? Considering that he didn't get a massive amount of starts last season, you've got to think that he wants to go somewhere where he's going to play every single week. So I think that Leeds is probably a good destination for him. From what we've seen of him, and then, of course, what we've seen of Leeds as well, he seems like he'd be a good fit for the system, Rodrigo Muniz. So apparently, according to multiple sources, Leeds United are going to launch a new bid for Rodrigo Muniz after the last bid of 26 million was rejected. So we offered 26 million plus 6 million in add-ons was the deal. So that's 32 million in total, but 26 of it was upfront, if you will, with 6 million that are potential things that could have been added on. So I think Fulham are probably going to want more like 35 to 40 million before letting Rodrigo Muniz go out the door, really. So Leeds are apparently stepping up the bid, so we'll see what that kind of looks like. They might offer 32 million up front and then offer plus 4 million in add-ons, for example. So we'll have to kind of wait and see what they say on that one. On Rodrigo Muniz front, so that's the kind of update there. Carl Waters just saying, "Evening Max, can't believe we got rid of our young prospects. It's a shame." Yeah, it is. But like I was saying before, and obviously you weren't in the stream at that point. But what I was saying before is that Leeds can't do anything about it. It's the same thing that happened with Finley Gorman. I think because they've not signed a professional contract, there is nothing tying them to the club, so we can really just go anywhere else without any repercussions, to be honest. So the next one, we'll just briefly touch on this. Junior Firpo has been pictured on his own story wearing a Mark Roca Real Betis shirt whilst kind of training on his own, doing some pre-season work. And he's used a green love heart as well at the bottom right, which obviously is the Betis colours. So seems like it's fairly confirmed that Junior Firpo will be going back to Real Betis to play alongside Mark Roca there. So, yeah, look, it's a shame because he was really good last season, but it gives us a chance to bring someone new in the door like Goodmanson. Or, as we move on, Lucas Ulrich. Now, Lucas Ulrich has also been linked with Leeds United. The 21-year-old has come through into the Borussia Mönchengladbach first team this season, displacing what's he called, Luca Netz, who has been a very good left back for Mönchengladbach for a few years now. Welcome, CB. So he is, he's taken the place then of Luca Netz and been very good. He's been playing in the German under-21 national team as well recently, and is a highly thought of prospect. Apparently, I think Spurs might have been the other team who had invested an interest in Lucas Ulrich as well. So that one remains to be seen. I think if we sign Lucas Ulrich, we should probably sign Goodmanson as well. I'd like to have both of them, and that's because you've got to have a backup. And if Firpo's going out, as much as I like Sam Byram, I said this on Joe's channel the other day, as much as I like Sam Byram, I don't think he's a Premier League option. I just don't think Sam Byram's a Premier League option. So that's where I kind of think with that. I think if we brought in Lucas Ulrich, we'd also bring in Goodmanson, and that would cover us really well in that left back position. Let me know what you think as well of the players that we've kind of been linked with here. We'll move on to Meslier next. Now, apparently Meslier, I did a YouTube short about this / TikTok today, so some of you probably have seen this already, but Meslier apparently, so Fenerbahce in Turkey have made inquiries about Ilan Meslier. But I don't think that Douglas Luiz is a holding midfielder though, or slash number 8, Carl, and Muniz is a striker. So very different kind of positions. Anyway, so if we would be going for both, if we were going for them. Yeah, like it's not one or the other. So yeah, apparently Fenerbahce have made inquiries with Leeds United and have expressed their interest in Ilhan Meslier, but no firm offer has been made yet. So we could expect to see that in the coming days, especially just after the start of next month. So keep your eyes peeled on the Meslier situation. Also, because of this, Burnley have signed their man. Let me just check who he is. I can't remember what his last name is. Max Weiss. Max Weiss has joined Burnley as a goalkeeper, and James Trafford apparently done deal and confirmed. James Trafford to Newcastle from Burnley for €20 million. Man City will receive 20% of the sale. Contracts until 2029. Apparently, that's the deal. So it looks like, it looks like Trafford's going to Newcastle, which could free up Pope to go to us. So once some of these moves start to go, all the dominoes will fall on the goalkeeper front. So keep your eyes peeled for that one. John saying never getting Luiz or Muniz. Why not? We might be. We'll talk about Douglas Luiz. So apparently Leeds United have opened preliminary talks with entourage of Juventus midfielder Douglas Luiz, who is not part of Igor Tudor's plans. So look, he doesn't look like he's going to be involved with the Juventus side next season. I think a loan with an option to buy is the option for Douglas Luiz, because he went to Juventus for 50 million, I think, and the rumoured price that Leeds were going to be able to pay for him was 30 million. So in that case, I think you're essentially, you're not going to see Juventus go, yeah, after one season we're happy to lose 20 million. So I think potentially a loan to buy for a little bit more money. If Leeds are to stay in the Premier League, that's something that we could be looking at, apparently. So we have been linked again with Douglas Luiz, this time a little bit more of a firm kind of interest has been shown by Leeds United. So that's what we've got on the Douglas Luiz front as well. When we're talking about strikers slash number 10s here, and somebody who a lot of us think can play in the number 10 and striker role is George Mikautadze. The Georgian striker has been playing for Lyon as a bit of a kind of creative number 9, creating a lot of goals as well as scoring goals as well. And I think he's somebody who Leeds should definitely be looking at, because, and I don't know if everybody knows this, a lot of people will have seen it because it was big news, but Lyon have been relegated to Ligue 2 in France, and the reason for that is because they broke a lot of the financial restrictions were broken by Lyon, so they've been relegated with immediate effect. So some of their players apparently that have relegation release clauses include George Mikautadze for 22 million euros, which is, I think, around what we paid for Yakubiyol. So Yakubiyol being 22 million euros, I think it came to about 16, 17, 18 million pounds. So that means that Leeds could get somebody who can play in the number 9 and can play in the number 10 in George Mikautadze for a really, really decent price. A really decent price for him. Somebody who, let's have a little look at his statistics this season. 34 matches this season, 11 goals, 6 assists. It's a really, really good return there. It's just over a goal contribution every other game. So he's 24. So look, he's got bags of talent, bags of potential. I think Leeds should definitely be looking at him. A lot of people are interested. Apparently, some of the higher up clubs in the Premier League as well have been looking at him. Evening, Jason. Welcome to the chat. So yeah, he's somebody who people are definitely going to be interested in. George Mikautadze, but someone that Leeds should definitely be having a look at. The other one is Gus Hamer. Oh, that was weird timing, Mervyn. That was really weird timing. Yeah, Gus Hamer. Apparently Leeds still have an interest there, although he seems to have gone down the list of priorities according to, I think it was Graham Smith. So apparently he's gone down the priority list. He's somebody who Leeds would still be interested in, but I think they're going to have a look around a little bit more first to see what they can get, and then maybe a little bit of a fallback would be to get Gus Hamer. I don't think Gus Hamer's going to stay at Sheffield United again for another season. Not in the Championship. Not in the Championship. He's creative. He did well even with Sheffield United in the Premier League as well, scoring and creating goals. But there might be better options out there that we can go and get. That's the thing. I thought that for a footballer he did. CB, but when you actually see him running, he seems to carry it all right. He seems to be able to do the running still. But yeah, I do think that he is on the list, but Leeds will be looking elsewhere first, trying to get that position filled with somebody else instead. In terms of a keeper, like I was saying before, Carl, Nick Pope seems to be one. Jordi Petrovic, that rumour seems to have gone a little bit more quiet on the goalkeeper front, but yeah, as soon as one starts to move, that's when I think they all will start moving. So so in summary, at the moment we've seen Lucas Ulrich has been linked, Meslier could be going on his way to Fenerbahce, Georges Mikautadze available for 22 million euros. Junior Firpo's been pictured in a Betis shirt, suggesting he's probably going to go back. Gus Hamer a little bit further down on the list. Leeds are preparing a new bid for Rodrigo Muniz and Douglas Luiz as well, apparently. So there was a couple more that have just kind of... on June 20th, it was reported that Leeds United are reportedly showing interest in Mamadou Lamine Camara, 21-year-old attacking midfielder who plays for Senegal. So that could be an option in that... number 10 role as well. Don't know much about him, but if we get linked with him a little bit more, I'll do a deep dive on him and do a video about that as well. Of course, the players who we have been linked with more solidly, such as Noah Siddiqui, Goodmanson, and I did a video on Emi Buendia as well. There's videos, like proper deep dives with video analysis and everything. If you want to know more about some of the signings that we've made, and maybe you're new here, make sure you go and get down in my channel after the stream and have a look, because there's plenty of like deep dive videos talking about how they tactically fit in and stuff as well. I think we are as well only... Let's have a look. We're really close to 8,900 subs. Yeah, we only need... If you're new here and you haven't already, hit that sub button, because we're just about to hit 8,900, and then we only need 100 subs to hit 9k, and then it's on to 10k, hopefully before the start of the season. That would be amazing. That's a big ask, but 10k before the start of the season is my total goal. Alioski back. Alioski's just signed for a Swiss club. I think it's Lugano. Let me just check. Ezcan Alioski. Yeah, Lugano. Alioski's just signed for Lugano in the Swiss Super League. All these pictures are of him in a Leeds shirt, but yeah, he's just signed in the Swiss League as well. So is Berardi's still playing in the Swiss League, isn't he, as well? So he'll have a mate over there. No, not Domenico Berardi. Gaetano. Gaetano Berardi is... Yeah, he's not retired. 8 yellow cards in the Swiss League last year. Oh, Swiss Challenge League. Does that mean that he's in the second division? Probably. But yeah, they're both a couple of Leeds players back in Switzerland now. Thanks, John. Appreciate that. Thanks, Jamie, as well. Feelings on Jack Harrison. Good point. Thanks, Mervyn. By the way, feel free, anyone, to bring up any talking points that you want to have a chat about. So I was on Joe's channel, I think it was yesterday, and we were having a chat about Jack Harrison. I think he uploaded a reel about that, an Instagram reel and stuff. That this is my feelings on Jack Harrison. So Jack Harrison is a decent footballer. He hasn't been very good over the last season or so, but you can't deny that for Leeds at times he was very good, and there was even a chance at one point that he might be called up for England. But when we have a look at Jack Harrison as a player, if you ask me what his best attributes are, it's his crossing and putting the ball into a really dangerous area in the box. And I don't think that Leeds play like that. Leeds play in a situation where you want the wingers to actually be cutting inside and acting as extra strikers to go into the half space and score goals. And I just don't think that that's Jack Harrison's game at all. Take away all of the off the pitch stuff about his mum saying that he shouldn't go back to Leeds and all this stuff. Take all of that apart and you just look at the player. He's not a good fit for Leeds in the way that we play anymore. So even on that front, you need to sell him. Now, I think there'll be some takers. I think somebody like Burnley, he would be ideal for. I also think that somebody like Sunderland might take him. One of the newly promoted sides might take him. I think he's just about, if he went down to the Championship, he'd want to be one of the best players in the Championship. But I think he thinks he's better than that. So I think if he doesn't get a Premier League move, he might go back to the MLS, or he might go to the MLS or somewhere like that. So that's for me on him. We'll go back up to Penny's. Any news about a number 10? Penny saying so. I think that on the thumbnail, Georges Mikautadze that I was talking about before, the Georgian striker, he's a very creative number 9 who's capable of dropping in and getting assists and stuff as well. A bit like when we've dropped Piru into the number 10. Piru still did all right there last season, but I think George Mikautadze is on a different level. And he would fit that number 10 role really well because he'd be able to get forward and act as a second striker as well to go forward and score goals. And he'd be able to play in the number 9 role as well whenever he needed to. So I think he's a very versatile player in that sense. So for me, if you ask me who we could ideally play in the number 10, probably George Mikautadze. We have also been linked, of course, with Emi Buendia. So a lot of people, I did a deep dive on Emi Buendia saying basically this could be the perfect storm if we can get him for a decent price, around 15 million. We could revitalise his career because he played his best football under Daniel Farke. So I think that Buendia would also be a really good fit. Some people disagree with me on that. In terms of Mervyn Adlam saying, who would you like to see come to Leeds? There's a few players. Like I said, I think someone asked me this last week. I think if you're getting a striker in, somebody like Ivan Toney would be an amazing signing. I don't think it'd happen because Toney probably sees himself going to somebody a bit higher up in the league. But Ivan Toney would be a great number 9 for us. The way he's played in the Premier League before, the goals he scored, he would be a great number 9 for us. But I think George Mikautadze will be a great signing as well. And there's a couple of others throughout Europe. Players we've been linked with as well. I'd love us to just go out and get Noah Siddiqui, just to have him on the bench, even if he's not going to be a starting option. I think he'd be a very good shout. Noah Siddiqui, but obviously we've been looking at Habib Diarra as well, so there could be more coming in on that front. Ryan Morrison saying love to get Mitrovic. See, yeah, I know what you mean. Kristovic that we were looking at from Lecce, who has basically said, Kristovic has now basically said, I understand the interest. I'm waiting to see if there's anything from Italy. I think is his kind of standpoint on that. But Kristovic is quite a similar player to Mitrovic. I don't think Mitrovic is going to come back to the Premier League again, and I don't think he's only 30, Mitrovic. I didn't realise that. Alexander Mitrovic to Everton update after World Cup transfer mission. Apparently there's been links of Alexander Mitrovic going back to Everton, going back to the Premier League, but playing for Everton. yeah, I don't know. He's 30 years old, so he's actually got plenty of time ahead of him. Sorry, I just put you up on screen, Ryan, so people can see. Yeah, it might not be a bad shout in terms of his proven ability to score goals in the Premier League, to be physical, to be that kind of number 9 you need in the Premier League. But I'm just not sure whether he fits our system. He's not the best kind of link-up man. And I think it's important for our strikers to have that ability to link the play, and to allow the other forwards, the wingers, to go beyond him. Mervyn saying, dare I mention Calvin Phillips? There's a lot of nostalgia factor for me in Calvin Phillips. I loved Calvin Phillips when he played for Leeds, when he played for England. Got this sense of kind of pride that he was, he did so well. And yeah, it depends what the price is for me on Calvin Phillips, because I do think that you've got a proven Premier League player who's done some good stuff in the league before and has the ability to pass the ball, to make tackles. His injury record is bad. His form is bad for the last 2 or 3 years. So it would have to be really cheap. And if it was, I'd say, yeah, come on, bring him back and put him on the bench. That's my kind of thoughts on that. A little bit earlier in the stream, Ryan, you can go back afterwards. We did talk about Meslier to Fenerbahce, but long and short of it is they've made inquiries, haven't made a bid. See you later, CB. They've made inquiries, but they haven't made an actual bid. And that Newcastle have pretty much signed James Trafford. So once we see one move, it should all be kind of the ball rolling on that front. So yeah, there's a lot of kind of there's a lot of moving cogs to the goalkeeper situation. If anybody's got any other questions about any people we've been linked with. Oh, actually, no, yeah, somebody mentioned right at the start of the stream. Let me scroll back because I want to make sure I give credit. Philip Anderson. Just seen something on Leeds that we've been linked with another player for 20 million. So apparently Leeds have been preparing a 12 million pound bid for Angers star Hamad Abdeli, who's an Algeria international, number 10, who can play in the kind of number 8 role as well. Progressive ball carries is good, and he's pretty much a really, really good dribbler and carrier of the ball. 25-year-old, so a good age to sign him, and yeah, you have to take this with a big old pinch of salt because it's Football Insider, and despite the name, Football Insider isn't a reliable source for these kind of transfers. So take it with a pinch of salt, but there may be interest from Leeds in him. See, Bamford, yes or no? And a lot of people will laugh at this. So let's think about this, right? Leeds United have signed Lucas Mecha, and we've also got Joel Pirou, and we're going to be signing another striker. Whether that be Rodrigo Muniz, whether that be George Mikautadze, whoever that may be. That means that Leeds would have 3 strikers, and Bamford is probably going to be 4th choice. I don't know if Bamford would be happy to just sit on the bench because he's not going to get much game time at all. He has said himself, Patrick Bamford, that he suits the Premier League more. And we can see when he got 17 goals that he did. He's been blighted with injuries a massive amount, so we never got to see him other than that season where he had a pretty good full season of fitness. We've not got to see him play in the Premier League that much. So as a 4th choice option, if we can't get rid of him, it's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the world. Thanks, John and Jamie, for your kind words in the comments. Ryan as well. We did talk about Douglas Luiz before. People are saying, yeah, Juventus need the money, but they did sign him just a year ago for 50 million. Hi, John. Welcome to the stream. Yeah, we did. They did sign him for 50 million just a year ago, and to let him go for a rumoured 30 million is a massive loss to make. But they're saying that they need to make the money, so who knows on that front? We'll have to wait and see, because yeah, it does seem a little bit mad. It does seem a little bit mad to kind of let him go for that, unless they're really desperate, or unless they let him go on a loan to buy. Bamford as well. Yeah, I like Bamford. That's the thing. I like him as a person. Obviously, that doesn't translate to him being the best. It doesn't translate to him being the kind of best player that we could have in the squad. But I will say that I like Bamford as a person, so I want to see him do well. I think the best thing for him is probably to go somewhere else. But to be honest, I think that Bamford would do well in going somewhere like America or something. I think with the interest that Leeds has had from an American audience for the last few years, because of the American players that we've had and all that, I think Bamford is probably known about a little bit in America. And I think he would do really, really well in the American League, because it's not as difficult. I think go and have a holiday and basically just enjoy yourself, enjoy your football in the sunshine. I think he deserves it after the kind of up and downs that he's had at Leeds United, where people won't just slaughter him for every touch he makes. Yeah, we were linked with Darman a long time ago, Wayne, weren't we? Right at the start of the window, and made a video on him. He'd basically displaced the other Augsburg keeper, and in the last 19 games of the season, I think they'd conceded about half as many goals. He was their second choice and now their first choice, and somebody whose save percentage is really, really high. I don't think we have we don't have a massive kind of we don't have a massive data set in regards to Darman. He's played really, really well at the end of last season, but we don't know whether that would continue. I think Darman, given the price he would make a good second choice keeper if we were to get rid of Meslier as well. Yeah, or Jack Harrison to Rangers as well. That's a good point. Richard Todd, if you go back earlier in the video, I did talk about Jack Harrison there. So I won't cover it again just for the sake of everybody else not having to listen to me twice, but we did talk about Jack Harrison. Sean Longstaff is not someone that we've discussed. Look, Sean Longstaff's obviously a half-decent player, but I would much prefer to go for your Habib Diarras or your Noah Siddiquis than a Sean Longstaff. I get it, because Sean Longstaff is that kind of box-to-box number 8, but he's been kept out of the Newcastle team for quite a while, and I just think that, yeah, there's other options out there that I would prefer to go for, and I think also you're going to get rinsed for somebody who's English, playing in the English league. I think, yeah, there's definitely a kind of an English tax, that homegrown tax, isn't there? So I think he would be too expensive for what he is. So I personally wouldn't like to see Sean Longstaff come in. There's plenty of options out there, and Leeds have been linked with quite a few players this window so far. Quite a few, like a lot. But there are some that are credible, and some of that are incredible as well. Some players that we've been linked with that would really, really do well for us in the Premier League. Wayne Dawson saying Bamford has had a good head on his shoulders and would be perfect for upcoming players. Maybe you can just keep him as a coach, another option, I guess. Yeah, I think he's a bit young yet, Bamford. I think he's only 30, isn't he? 31, Bamford. So I think he's probably got a few years left in him being a footballer first. But yeah, I think he's... eventually he probably would make a good coach. I think I tend to agree on that. Richard Todd saying it looks like we're being proactive rather than reactive for the first time in a long time. Yeah, I do think that the links that we've had for the most part have been ones that, when you look at them and you go into detail, you think, oh, I've not really heard of that player. But when you actually have a little look in a bit more detail, you go, oh yeah, actually, watching some of his highlights, watching some of the game footage, and having a look at his statistics and kind of the way he plays, you think, oh yeah, he actually does fit the system, and that's what I think is a big difference with this window. In the past, we've been all too happy to just splash the cash on random players, and I think this season we're buying players for the manager, for the system. So that's why I'm more happy with the kind of players that we've been linked with. Jamie saying I can't see any high dollar purchases, 30+ million. I can, Jamie, and the reason for that is that Leeds are being very shrewd about where they spend their money. So you can see that Leeds being linked with somebody like Gabriel Goodmanson at left back. He would come in for around 7 to 10 million pounds. You've also got Noah Siddiqui, who's been linked, who would be around £8.5 million. And I do think that some of the other players that we've been linked with as well are in an attempt to get a very good player for a healthy price for the club. But the reason for that is it allows you to then go, hold on a second, we can spend 35, 40 million on Rodrigo Muniz if we really have to, or whoever else we bring in at striker. I think we spend the big money at striker and number 10. And I think that's reasonable, to be honest, to spend the big money at striker and number 10. It makes sense to do that because those are the ways you're going to create and score goals. So I think that we're saving money in other areas to spend bigger in the striking areas. Now, that sounds, the way I've said it there, sounds like we're saving money, we're cutting costs, we're buying players that aren't good. I think it's more a case of we're being clever about who we sign in other areas. It's not that we're going, oh yeah, let's get a cut price player who's not very good. It's let's get a player who has great value for what they actually are, and then that allows us to go and spend more money in other areas. Andy Rowe saying, I've just heard friendly behind closed doors and the Dublin game full of reserves. 49ers taking they expect us to buy merch. So I think you've got a few wires crossed there. Someone could correct me if I'm wrong. Leeds have announced that they're going to Germany for pre-season. That's what's behind closed doors, and apparently we aren't even going to be able to watch it online either. Because the German police have said that's just not a thing, we can't do that. Last time this happened last season was because of the end of the Euros and stuff like that, and they said that they just couldn't do it. They've said it again and let Leeds know really late. Leeds said they apparently looked at trying to move the pre-season games to somewhere else, but weren't able to in the end. But the games in Dublin and Sweden will have full crowds, I think. Against AC Milan and against Scum, they will have full crowds apparently. It's just the Germany pre-season tour games that won't be televised or anyone will be able to even go to them. So that's the way I understand it. Jason saying 15 minutes behind, would Jack Harrison be a good wing back if we play 3 at the back? I can see what you mean, but I don't think he's defensively got... He's played left back before, hasn't he, under Bielsa, but I just don't think he has that kind of... A, he's not in the good graces of the fans, and B, I just don't think he has the defensive capabilities to play there, and I think he needs to go, really. I think he needs to leave, because we definitely need to bring in left backs as well anyway. So you wouldn't want to kind of bring him back and go, yeah, he's our left back, because I think people would kick up a big fuss about that. Obviously, and you're probably saying, yeah, as well as signing another left back, but for me, I'd sign 2 left backs and get rid of Harrison. That's my thoughts on it. Yeah, that is a point as well, Philip. Philip's saying about Bamford, we were talking about him before. His wages are high as well, and to get him off the books will mean that you can bring in another player or even a couple of young players, and their wages would add up to just one of Bamford's wage. So that kind of makes sense to do. Sorry, I've been talking a lot, so I had to have a bit of a drink of water there. So Richard Todd saying, Harvey Elliott, I think he's going to go to Brighton for 40 million. No worries, Jamie. Thanks for joining us. Harvey Elliott apparently is going to go to Brighton for 40 million. Richard Todd saying, how many players do you think we will get in the first week in July, and how many overall? My guess is 2 next week and 7 overall, plus 2 last-minute loans. Yeah, you can make 2 loans, can't you, domestically? In the first week in July, towards the end of the week, maybe 1. Towards the end of the week, maybe 1. I think that we're going to make. I think we're going to make a couple of signings in the weeks after that. I think in total we need. So what we need still now, let's go through it basically. What we need now is goalkeeper, left back, potentially 2 left backs, goalkeeper, left back, probably a backup right back. Let's leave that off the list for now because that's a nice to have. Goalkeeper, left back, number 8, box to box midfielder. Number 10, striker. So at minimum, at absolute minimum, we need 5 more signings. And we've already made 2. So at minimum, we need 5 more signings. What will be nice to have as well is another winger and a right back. So that's 7. 7 in total. That's my thoughts on it, Richard. I think we need 7 overall. 5 at the absolute minimum. Which is crazy, isn't it? It just shows the gaps between the leagues that we obviously come up to the Premier League having had an amazing season and getting 100 points, and we have to sign like 7 players to be able to stay up, like almost a whole new first team. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on it. I think we need 7, but 5 at absolute minimum. Yeah, so that's kind of my thoughts on it. Has anybody got any more questions? There's not been a massive amount. There's not been a massive amount. Another manager? No, I don't think so. It's too late now. 2 keepers? I don't think we need 2 keepers because I think there's a chance that Meslier stays as a backup, and then you've got Meslier and Darlow as backups. Then you've got your first team goalkeeper. Even if Meslier goes, you've still got Darlow as a backup, and maybe you bring in another goalkeeper on a free or something. Yeah, but for the most part, we kind of agree on the rest of it. We don't need a new manager. We don't. Farke's never had people. It's a completely different situation. What happened with Farke with Norwich when he came up to the Premier League, because he didn't have any kind of. I think we've already spent more than what Norwich were able to spend in the. I think we've never. They never had enough to spend in the Premier League when they came up, so we kind of we've already blown them out the water in that aspect. So we just have to spend enough to stay up, essentially. 7 out, 7 in. Dave's saying, yeah, because Jack Harrison probably on his way out, and then you've got. Meslier potentially on his way out as well. Yeah, there's a few more. I think personally that we should keep Aronson. Now, it might be an unpopular opinion, but when I saw the things I saw from him in the Premier League and in the Championship was that he would be a very good option off the bench. Bringing him on later on in a game to really press and harry the opposition because of his engine that he's got and the way that he runs, I think that he would be a really, really good player to have on the bench. And if we were to sell him, we wouldn't get the money back that we paid for him anyway. So for me, Aronson sits on the bench. We bring in a new number 10, and then Aronson can pretty much play in any of those midfield positions. He might do well in the number 8 as well, being able to carry the ball forward. He just needs better decision making in the final third. Yeah, Richard Todd saying 146 watching. Smash a like, everyone. If you haven't already, yeah, hit that like button down below. This the stream seemed to be quite popular after it was live as well last week, so that was interesting. We're still just about on 8.9k. Where are we? Oh no, we're on 8,900. So yeah, we only need 100 subscribers to hit that 9k mark, and then we're on to 10k as soon as possible. So thank you for all your continued support, everyone. Much appreciated. Yeah, the youngster that's gone to Spurs is Oliver Boast. Leeds opted to negotiate a fee rather than go to tribunal. Sources say a 7-figure deal has been agreed. Now, I'm probably being dumb here, but 7-figure... Yeah, so from 1 million to just under 10 million. Yeah, and the club don't really have any the club don't have any power in it. So yeah, that's kind of where we sit on that one. We can't really do anything about youth players going out like that. Philip agreeing. Bang on with that. Brendan Aronson is staying. He'll be so good at coming off the bench. Yeah, because you know what? I watched. It came up on the Premier League YouTube channel the other day. It was about 25-minute highlights of Leeds when Leeds beat Chelsea 3-0 at the start of the Jesse Marsch season. And do you know what? Weirdly, I watched it back that game. I watched it back and. Whilst I was at the stadium for that game, I was in the north west corner. Yeah, in the northwest corner. And when Aronson nicked the ball off, this is when I saw that Aronson was decent in the Premier League as well. Aronson nicked the ball off Mendy and scored the goal and whatever. And yeah, it was really good to see that kind of victory in the Premier League, 3-0 over Chelsea. It was the first time in like 20 odd years we'd beaten Chelsea in the league. But I could see even then, when I watched it back, I was like, oh my God, we're so unorganised. We're everywhere. We're at 6s and 7s. Everybody doesn't know what's going on. We easily could have conceded a load of goals to Chelsea in that game, and it's just luck that we didn't. But when I'm watching Farke now, even though we're dominating, we're playing attacking football, you can see that we're so much more organised and well-disciplined. Positionally, Chelsea were bad in that game, yeah, but they still had some decent players in there. And to win 3-0 against them was amazing at the time, but we were lucky to do so, I thought. We were lucky to do so, but you can see that now we are... I just don't get this thing, and probably not a good time to get into this, to be honest, but I don't... The people who say that... Sound is just unplugged. Somebody let me know. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Testing. That's better? Yeah. Sorry. So basically, I was talking to Darren there, so saying thanks, Darren. Darren saying Darlow good for Wales and took us up, thinks he deserves a chance. Great. Just subscribe to your great content. Thanks, pal. Yeah, appreciate the support, Darren. Thank you very much for subscribing. Yeah, and I do think Darlow's a good goalkeeper. I think we definitely still need to bring in another goalkeeper, but I wouldn't be surprised if Darlow started the first few games of the season, and I don't think I would be massively disappointed if he did. So, yeah, I think that Darlow's a good goalkeeper. He's solid, but I think for the long term, we need another goalkeeper as well. Billy Livingston has said, no one listened to the View channel with Jer, but listening to your show, very good analysis, very sensible, no BS or clickbait. Keep up the great work. Yeah, the only time I accidentally clickbait, thanks Billy as well for joining us. A lot of the content on the channel as well is the deep dives and transfer. It's less of like a reporting clickbait transfers. It's more of doing deep dives and tactical analysis and stuff, and then we've got the watch-alongs and everything as well. I accidentally clickbaited yesterday. Now, sorry everyone, but whoever saw my TikTok / YouTube short about Yakubiyol being suspended for the Everton game, that is not correct. But at the time of making it, I did think that was correct because I had read an article and I had Googled it as well. And for some reason, when I Googled it that time, it came up supporting the evidence that he would be banned for that game, picking up a suspension and a red card, second yellow on the last game of the season against Fiorentina. That is not the case because it wasn't serious foul play, and it won't be carried over, so he will be available for that game. So that was a total mistake on my part, and really didn't mean to put out false content. So yeah, that's my bad on that one. So yeah, what were we talking about? Oh yeah, thanks Wayne. So yeah, essentially we've had a good few links this week, and we are going to have a little bit of a quiet weekend, I think. And then next week on the 1st of July, I think that's when we're going to start seeing players come through the door. At the moment, I've got no idea who that might be first. To me, most likely to kind of come through the door first is a Habib Diarra. If we can't get Habib Diarra done, I think that we're going to... if we can't get Habib Diarra done, I think we're going to go for the Noah Siddiqui, much like we did when we couldn't get Tanaka in the first season. And then we had Glenn Kamara come in as our backup, essentially. So that's kind of where I see that one going. I didn't see that Diarra has been linked with Sunderland, 35 million plus add-ons. I don't think Sunderland are going to be spending that much, on players. I just don't think he's going to be. Sunderland are going to be spending that much. What do you think to the PSR rules changing? That's why City keep kicking the can down the road. If the PSR changes, we'll be able to mix it with the big boys. Yeah, look, I think the way that it works at the moment doesn't work because it makes the rich stay rich and the poor cannot then keep up with them. So I think hopefully it would be, hopefully it changes to kind of allow teams to actually keep up with it. Newcastle have managed it within the rules, but to be fair, we could find out a few years down the line that they've been cheating as well. We don't know. But yeah, how do I rate the 49ers so far? I'm pretty happy with what the 49ers have done, to be honest. I think they've learned everything not to do from Radrizzani and co. I think that's what they've learned, everything not to do. And now they're trying to basically rely on infrastructure and going, do you know what? We don't know that much about football. Let's leave it to the professionals. So the scouting department, of which there is now, it's been expanded massively to have heads of departments and stuff. And the infrastructure of the club has improved so much that I think that's what sets you up for success. Do I think that we'll get most of our squad in before the pre-season starts? I think so, because I think that Leeds nowadays are able to kind of Leeds are now able to identify players early for the system. They probably were identifying players last season if we go up that they would want to sign, so they know who they want already, and they are just they're just kind of having these players set up to try and sign, and if they can't, that's when they get the backups in. And I think when they get the backups in later in the window is because they couldn't get the first choice. So I think the later signings will be based on players that we missed out on. Apparently the Bellingham money, but surely they don't want to spend it all at once. Do you get what I mean? Like, surely they should split that money and spend it on a couple of players. Max Aarons has gone to Rangers, but that was a Leeds link once upon a time. Yes, it was, and I have seen that he's gone to Rangers. But Bogle's done a really good job last season. I'd like to see him get a chance, potentially backed up by another right back. And Kyle Walker-Peters is available on a free. So I think we should go and get him, definitely. He carries the ball so well and takes it past players. He'd be really good in that position out on the right-hand side. Until bids are table, it's pure conjecture, absolutely. But the main thing that we do on this channel, look, this is just a weekly. This is who we've been linked with. People who don't have the time to go and look at the news and stuff also get my opinion on it, as well as just saying these are the players that we've been linked with. This is the amount of money that we've been linked with spending on them, just to get a general idea, because people are interested in who we might be signing. So yeah, it's not. I'm not trying to make up my own rumours or anything. I'm just saying that's why we're doing this sort of thing. Harvey925 saying, I'm a Sunderland fan and it's being said he's going to be our Job replacement, but Alan Nixon, the source, talks so much most of the time. Yeah, Alan Nixon has got a few of our transfers wrong before, I think. So, I think he's not massively reliable on that front. I think as well, a lot of the time, like, journalists will say, like, Leeds will have been linked with Habib Diarra, and the journalists will go, oh, well, Sunderland and Burnley are newly promoted. Let's do an article linking them as well, and just pretty much make it up, to be honest. Because why would teams who play in a completely different system and a completely different style be trying to sign the same player? It doesn't really make that much sense. So, yeah. And look, if we don't get Habib Diarra through the door, I would be very, very happy, very, very happy to get Noah Siddiqui, because I think he's a Brighton style signing. I think he's a Brighton style signing where you go, who's this lad? We've never heard of him before, but he's brilliant, and that's what I'm hoping for out of him. So yeah. We're just rounding off, just about to get to an hour mark. If anybody's got any questions, make sure you get them in the chat just before we end. We'll just answer a couple more things here. Philip Anderson saying, I think Lucas is going to be in the first team as our first choice striker. He's going to shock a lot of people. I think he's going to be third choice, to be honest, after Peru and then after our first team striker. But the thing about Lucas Mecha is that he can play as a left back and he can play as a left winger or a right winger as well, probably left winger primarily if he was going to play on the wing. But he's an extra option there if you've got injuries, if you've got anything like that. He is able to play out on that left-hand side, cutting in and going into the half space and trying to score goals. And obviously being a striker, he'll be better at scoring from those positions. So there's a chance that he does get more action than people will think. But I don't think he's going to be in the first team as a striking option, just because I think we're going to be bringing in more quality in terms of the striker as well. Richard Todd saying we've only spent 15 million on 2 players, so could possibly leave 135 million left. Yeah, exactly. So if we are going to get 7 players or whatever, let's say we're getting 7 players. Let's do 135 divided by 7. That allows you just under 20 million for each player. But obviously that means then if we get a player for 7 million or 10 million, say we sign Goodmanson and Siddiqui for 10 million each, you've then obviously got an extra 20 million to spend on a striker. So you could then go up to about 40 million to spend on a striker, if you get what I mean. So that's why I think it's going to work out that we do spend big money on some players because we've spent less on others. That's where I see it, really. I think Peru will shock a few people in the Prem, if I'm honest. I do think that Peru could do well. He's got the kind of... He's never been in the Premier League before, but he seems like one of those players who's not going to see much of a difference between the Championship and the Premier League, given the positions he picks himself up and the kind of... the strike, the natural, like, instinctual striking ability that he's got. I think that he's someone who could... I think he's someone that could do well in the Premier League. I do. I don't worry about the old Leeds problem of signing players around pegs. Exactly. This is what I'm talking about before when we talked about how we're feeling about how the 49ers are doing. I think that they are doing really well. Well, it's not just them, is it? It's the recruitment department, but they put them in place. But I think that the 49ers have done well of putting that recruitment department in place because they're picking out players who really fit the system, which is why you can afford to then spend less. If you've got a player who's brilliant in every aspect and you can go, okay, yeah, well, he would fit any team, then that's going to cost you a lot of money. But if you've got a player who's good at some very specific things that you've outlined as your player profile for that position, then you've not got that issue really. You've got that kind of you're buying players for the exact position that you wanted to put them in. So I've got no idea on whether they're utilising AI or not. I don't think so. I think they've just got a good solid recruitment department in place now, and we're just like, oh my god, this is weird. We're actually competent, and we're picking out players who can fit the system. Anyway, I think we're going to leave it at about an hour for this stream. Thanks everybody for joining us. If you haven't already, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below. We're trying to hit 9k as fast as possible, and then we're on to 10k. We only need 100 subs for 9k. There should be a video out tomorrow, another transfer video, probably a deep dive on a player. We'll have to have a look at who that might be. And then, of course, there'll be content throughout next week, and then another one of these every single week. And hopefully next week in this stream, we might have a signing to talk about. That's what I'm hoping for anyway. So thanks everybody so much for joining me. If you want to and become a Leeds Lately member like Trev in the chat, and there's a few more in here as well, CB was in here earlier, then you can hit that join button down below. When the season starts, for those of you who are new here, when the season starts, we do live watch-alongs of every single game as well, and it's a great kind of community chat going on as well. Woodliford? I don't think so. I'll have to Google where it is. No, I wasn't. No, I wasn't, Andy. But yeah, that would be a great return if we had some other if we signed another striker as well. But yeah, thanks everybody so much for joining me. Make sure you subscribe down below, and there'll be plenty more. There'll be plenty more videos coming out on the channel, and there'll be another one of these next week when hopefully we've signed a new striker. Thanks everybody so much for joining me. Yes, before we go, yes, completely forgot to mention it. Make sure you get your tickets for the Leeds Creator Cup. All of your favourite Leeds United content creators will be there. It'll be a big family fun day out. £7 for adults, £3 for children. I think 1 in 8 men get prostate cancer in their lifetime, and we are doing our best to raise as much money as possible for Prostate Cancer UK. So great cause, and it'll be a great day out and a great laugh. The link is in the description. It's on the 20th of July at the John Charles Centre in Leeds, and the link is in the description. £7 for adults, £3 for children, and it should be a great day with a great cause and everything. And I've designed the kits and stuff, and I'm captaining it, so I'll be very proud to play in that game. So hopefully some of you can make it down to the John Charles Centre on the 20th of July as well. So if you just wanted some information about it, or you want to leave a donation to the charity, it's also that same Leeds Creator Cup link in the description below. If you haven't either, you can go and check out my Etsy page down in the links as well in the comments. In the description, where I've made my own Leeds United prints. If you go and have a look at that, that'll be much appreciated as well. Designed them myself, and they're on there. So even if you don't buy anything, if you just press the little love heart and follow the shop, it should help push me up in the algorithm to more Leeds fans who can get some nice Leeds United art for their office or for their man cave or whatever it might be. So thanks everybody so much for your continued support. Thanks for joining me. And we'll have another chat about Leeds transfers next week, plus some videos in the week as well. So thanks everybody so much for joining me, and I'll see you in the next one.